Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today I want to talk about one of the most important resources in Galaxy of Heroes. I think these things are kind of misunderstood, and I want to make sure that you guys really grasp the importance of them, the prices that you see for them, and why I am, being so careful as to not spoil what they are. Because I have a fear that a lot of you will hear what it is and then just kind of run away. So please understand that this resource is going to make the difference between your account being good and your account being great. And not just in, hey, getting it, but how to use it. Because you can have as many of these things as you want, but if you don't know how to use them, it doesn't matter, right? So please like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Let's give a shout out to our channel members, as always, for their continued support. If you're ever interested, link down below, along with a link to the Discord. Please go check it out. Thank you guys again for, all the patience, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the more regular content that we've gotten through the past about week or so. I really appreciate you all. Again, everything in that description. Please like, subscribe. Let's get in here. Let's talk about this resource. All right, folks. So now, the moment you've all been waiting for. What we're talking about here is micro attenuators. Micro attenuators are honestly one of the most important resources in this game, and I think they are so misunderstood. A lot of you probably just stopped watching, but seriously, I think a lot of players just don't quite grasp how important it is that you use these things properly. Micro attenuators are, the reason they're important, number one, they increase the value of not just your mod, but of the slicing materials that you've put into that mod. Let's use this mod for example here, right? So it's 13 speed, it's got 2 flat defense, it's got potency, and it's got offense percent. So the slicing materials, if I just put this mod in here, right? Hey, you know what? I can't fix it anymore. There's nothing else I can do. Like you'd say, okay, this is a good mod. But now with micro attenuators, you look at this and say, Phil, this mod has the opportunity to be great if you can calibrate it to get the right stuff. So now, not only were those, you'd say, oh, Phil, that was a good use of your slicing materials. No, now it's a great use because, hey, guess what? I can calibrate this, use these to make this a significantly better mod for, obviously it's going to be subjective there, right? But make it a better mod for the character. So using those, using these calibrations wisely can make a massive difference in how your account's viewed. Let me show you an example here. So this, where's the one mod I had? So like a green mod, right? I could go in and calibrate this because, hey, I don't want the crit chance. I'd rather get these other stats. But I still have slices available that are pretty cheap here, right? Like this, the green is a pretty cheap slice, and even blue, right? You're not spending too much there. How I like to think of calibrations is the mod has reached a point, it has the stats on it where I think it's smarter for me to spend a calibration mat, rather spend the calibration mats, because the potential risk of getting a bad roll on the stat is too much. Like here, this crit damage mod on Hondo, 20 speed, only 2% offense, flat protection, and critical chance. I have a 50% chance to get something that I really don't want, and a 50% chance to get something I do, right? I'd rather take the risk of the calibration mat to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to take this flat protection and move it to speed or offense. That's the hope, right? So I'd rather do that than add a stat and then still have to, calibrate it off, right? Because the thing is, if this rolls to 5 speed, then I'm not going to touch it any further. So I'd rather try to get there with a calibration. Just, again, the way I make sense of it. This mod, on the other hand, we've got tenacity, potency, health percent, and speed. I'm going to 1000% try to slice this up again. Because obviously I want to get rid of this tenacity, but I have a 75% chance, really 100% chance to get a good stat. But I can get speed, I can get health percent that help out, right? So I like to think of calibrations as, okay, I'm pretty okay with where most of these stats are, except for this one. And if it slices there, I'm a little bit nervous. And so what micro attenuators, another way to think of them is I'm going to slice this mod up, and if it doesn't do what I want, I'm going to, calibrate again. I get a do-over. It'd be like having, in a penalty shootout for soccer fans or for a field goal for my NFL fans, having the ability to say, hey, you know what? You get a redo. That imagine during a penalty shootout, you got one redo that your coach could say, hey, you know what? Retake that penalty. Like, how many more trophies would Lionel Messi have in the Copa America if he could have one do-over for those missed penalties? because he's missed more of them in the Copa America than anybody else because he's a serial bottler when it came to that. He had to win the fixed FIFA World Cup there in 2022. But anyway, enough of that. You get the idea that, like, could you imagine how many games would be different if you could have a do-over on penalties? That the only player who wouldn't have to use it is Cole Palmer, knock on wood, because he's the coldest man on earth. Think about field goals. How many NFL teams could have won games if they had a do-over on a field goal? Cody Parkey with the Bears all those years ago in the playoffs, the double doink. Imagine he gets to redo that because you had a mulligan. That's what these calibrations are. They're literally a mulligan. They're a do-over. Hey, you didn't get what you wanted? Try again. Now, yes, they ramp up in value and concept is the same, right? I get there's a little bit of nuance there, but the concept is still the same. And the reason I bring this up is because of them being in episode shipments, and they are pretty expensive. They cost like 4,000 episode points, I think. Is it 4 or 6,000? They're pretty expensive. But they're not expensive in the sense, like, they cost a lot, but they're not expensive. Expensive isn't the right word. They cost a lot because of what they do. The value they bring is so incredibly high because it says, you know what? Now, none of the mod slicing materials that you use go to waste because you can potentially go in and re-roll the stats to get a better mod. So we're going to go through, I'm going to slice a couple of mods, we're going to calibrate them and kind of explain, show you guys that, hey, this is why this changes and this is why this is really, really good. So there's one on Kaidi Mundi that I really want to get to. I feel like I was supposed to do this a while ago. So here we've got this one. It's got offense, tenacity, speed, and health. So we're going to try and calibrate this tenacity off, right? Now, the worst case scenario, we get tenacity again. Like that. And it even got worse. So the worst case scenario just happened there. In this case, I'm kind of glad it happened so you guys see it. Worst case scenario, the mod stays the same, right? All right, we lost. Move on, right? We go to the next one. That one hurts. Not going to lie. I really wanted that to work. All right. So now we've got a couple other ones here that I think we can go ahead and try out. I'd like to try and calibrate this one. But I think I'm going to try to slice. I'm looking here. I feel like I'd like to slice this one. Let's try and slice this here. Let's see what we get. Oh, let's go. Let's go. All right, that's a good one. 28 speed. Let's go. All right. I like to see that. Okay. Yep, so we got, that was awesome, man. 6 speed on that. Let's, 28 speed. Love to see it. All right, so now let's go down here to, I don't love that one. There's one on BT1 I'd like to try out, I think. Got offense there. Yeah, let's try this. We're going to go ahead. We're going to try this one out. Let's see what we get here. All right, we got offense percent. That's good. All right, so now we still have a few calibrations. So this is where, like, on blue mods is normally where I'd say I start thinking about calibrations. And the reason I start thinking about it on blue is because in this case, I have, like, especially on this mod, outside of flat protection, all of these stats are going to help this guy. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try this and see what we land on. And of course, we get the same frickin' stat. And of course, it gets worse again. So we're going to discard that change. And I am going to go ahead and spend these so I can still get a few more of them. If I can, get me, come on. There we go. All right. We got enough for 3 more of the, like, mid-level calibrations here. So let's try, got this one on on Death Trooper again. I think I have some on Hondo I wouldn't mind trying out. Let's see. That's not awful. Let's try, let's see, anything down here? Those are all good stats. Like, there's an example, like this mod here. This is an example where I would just try to slice this up because all of those stats are good, right? Here, we've already done that one. What about Night Trooper? What does he have here? That one's good. Okay, we've already done stuff there, so we can't do that anymore. Afra, are these all? Yeah, those are all, so we just need more of those kind of materials. Yes, let's try some of these on Hondo, maybe. Let's try this one. Let's take away the flat health. Let's see what we get. And of course we get flat health again. And okay, there, it got a little bit better, right? I would at least keep that. I mean, it still sucks, but it's better than, you know, technically it's better than what it was before, right? Let's try this one here. We're going to try and take away the flat offense. And of course, look at that. I mean, this is awful. That is awful. Like that got so much worse. Man, we're striking out on these flat stats. You guys are normally, I mean, we hit that one on Death Trooper Peridium, man. We hit that one. That was good. All right, let's try this one. Get one more here. Come on, make this count. All right, we're going to get potency. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not as bad as some of the other things. So we'll keep that. So, I mean, you guys saw some good. You saw a lot of bad, right? But that's the whole thing with these, you know, attenuators. Again, hey, you know, you're rolling the dice every single time. That was probably some of the worst luck I've had with them, to be perfectly honest. Normally, you can at least get a few really good. That was even a slice. That wasn't even a calibrating. That was the slice. So, you know, at the end of the day, guys, like I said, all the slicing you do does add up, right? So now with these ones for Hondo, where we kind of had that bad luck, right? I'll probably go back in now and say, hey, you know what? We're just going to have to slice this up. We're just going to have to spend the slicing mats before I'm willing to calibrate that again for another 25. But at least we tried, right? Sometimes it really works out in your favor, and other times it's just, you know, pain and misery like I had here today. But that's why I think they're so valuable, is that even in all those instances where I'm like, didn't really work out, I still have another chance to go do it. It's not like I'm locked into that stat forever. I can go back in and change it. And that's how you really get some of those absurd mods like you see on Supreme Leader Kylo Ren here, right? Those didn't just happen overnight. Those happened because I have calibrated them more times than I can friggin' count. You know, so using them wisely and taking risks on some mods is what's going to lead you to be really successful in this game. So, I'm just going to do this last mod on Afra here before GAC. Come on, give me speed. Tenacity. That's exactly what this girl needs. No, she needs potency. Come on. So, anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. Hopefully, you saw as much bad as possible on me, but it portrays the idea of the importance that those attenuators have. If you use them properly, at least like I was trying to do, you can really increase the value of your mods and the value of the slicing materials you've put into them, because you can take those risks. You can take those chances at those good mods. If I can encourage you on another thing, again, you know, the flat stats are the big ones. You guys kind of saw us targeting those. And I have a whole guide where I kind of show you, hey, you know, this is slicing versus calibrating. I've done that. But I think attenuators for me, especially with this episode currency, is something I wanted to bring up on its own, because I think they are incredibly important. Don't just use them on a mod to try to get more speed. You want to use them on a mod that even if it doesn't roll the speed, it's still going to roll something that can help you. Because again, if you end up short on stuff, or you end up in a situation like I'm in right now, I'm running out of mods everywhere. But fortunately, because some of them have those extra stats, I can potentially calibrate them later and get a better mod. So that's the end of the video. I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.